Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. This video is part 1 in our Motorail series. We're going to do a couple of projects related to Motorail, which was a British Rail service where you could basically bring your car along when you went on the train. So the idea is that you would drive your car to a Motorail terminal. Your car would be loaded onto the train, you would get on the train, and then when you arrived at your destination, your car would be unloaded. You get in the car and drive it out the Motorail terminal. So there are a couple of different types of transport used for this in terms of rolling stock. What we have here is a standard double-deck car transporter. Now this isn't really prototypical. It's got a kind of railroad livery on it, so it's going to need some work. There's also a Motorail version of this that Lima produced a long time ago, and I've got some of those coming in. There's also a car flat that Hornby did, which is kind of like a single decker version of these, and you can also modify some wagons in order to duplicate the car flat as well. There's also the GUVs, which are Mark 1, I think, general utility vehicles, and those you could actually load the car into the back of the particular piece of rolling stock, and those used typically had a ramp that got the car above the buffer beam into the Mark 1 GUV. So we're going to be showing you all different kinds over the next couple of weeks, and we're also going to show you how to do some modifications to make them look a little bit more prototypical. And if all goes to plan, we'll also have some other cool Motorail related stuff. So for today's video, it's going to leave it pretty quick. I just wanted to show you the car transporter and give you kind of a quick look at it. So you can see here the Hornby code is OR6423. I think you can get these on Hatton's, so I got this one from Hatton's. I know you can get them from hornby.com as well. And I think they're about £18, and they come with a bunch of cars and the actual thing itself. Now Triang also had one that's kind of more box shaped, and I do have one of those, so we'll show you that in a later video. They also have a Canadian version, which I think it's just got the wrong livery on it, so we may be able to adjust those as well. You can pick those up pretty cheap on eBay. But what I want to do today anyway is just show you this. So the only changes we're really going to do to this is replace the railroad logo here with the proper British Rail Motor Terminal one. Sorry, the proper British Rail Motorail one. So let's just open this up and see what you get. It's the standard packaging, and I know these haven't been selling very well because they just have the kind of railroad logo on there, but they're pretty prototypical if you're looking at photos and stuff like that. Now this has got that lift out plastic as opposed to the other. It's kind of like a cheaper, I think, maybe. Hopefully it's not taped. Yep, it's not taped. Maybe it's taped. Yep, it's taped. There we go. So that just comes right out. And what you're left with is the car transporter with a bunch of cars in there. So yep, and all the cars fell off right away, so that answers the question of how they were secured in there. And the cars aren't too bad actually. I was expecting them to be a lot cheaper looking, but they actually don't look too bad. So what you get is 1, 2, 3, 4, you get 6 cars, and the actual transporter itself, and let me see, probably has, yep, it's got plastic wheels, so we'll have to fix that. And like you see, it's just got railroad on the other side as well. All the cars come out, and you can see there, they look like standard 1970s, 60s type car. These say Hornby on the back, no other indication, so if you recognize what kind of car these are supposed to be modeled off, let me know. I'm guessing they're probably all identical. Yes, they are. And they've got plastic wheels, pretty cheap, but they're not as cheap as I thought they were going to be. And I'm guessing that these will probably, maybe not. Well, I have to see if the bottom ones will actually come out. I'll mess with that here in a little bit. But yeah, so it looks like you got a couple on the top, a couple on the bottom. Maybe I'll just leave those in there, and you know how easy it is to get those out. Let's take a look. Ah, yes, there you go. So to get them out, they come out the bottom from the looks of it. This one, nope, that one's not going to go that way. And it's not going to go that way either. So that one may actually be stuck in there. I'll have to see if I can get that one out. But for now, I'm not too worried about that. That's sitting there pretty okay. So I guess the next question is how do these things compare in size to some Oxford Diecast? So let me go grab a couple of cars and see if we can pop them in there. Alright, so you can see here I picked up a couple of the Oxford Diecast cars I had sitting over on the other part of the layout. You can see there's obviously a decent size difference between these. If I take this red one here and put it side by side, you can see it's considerably lower than the Oxford Diecast one. If I put that way, you can see it's a good bit lower, and it's not quite as wide. But then if you compare it to the Mini, put there, it's not completely off, so it's not too bad. So I'm guessing because of the height difference, probably not going to get any of these Oxford Diecast ones in the bottom. Even compared to the Mini, this is still a couple of millimeters lower than the other one. But I think on the top rack, it shouldn't be too bad at all. You can see there, they fit. I'll have to test it going around the layout, but they should be able to get a couple of them in there and see how they go. So you can see there, it looks a lot better already just putting those in there. Alright, so let's go just load it up on the track and see how it works. Okay, so I wanted to show you something about this. I was able to get the other car out of the bottom. Basically, there's a little hook here that was, because it was back in the center here. But what you can do is these are actually on a sliding rail. It doesn't slide too well, but it slides well enough. And so what you do is you just slide this one to the back so it's past here, and then you can get the car out through this hole here. Now I'm pretty sure the Motorail, when it ran down the edge like that, so that's good that those adjust. So what I'm going to do is get some of the Oxford Diecast cars on there and show it to you running on the test track. Okay, so you can see here I've got 4 Oxford Diecast cars loaded up on the top. One thing I can tell you is that none of those Oxford Diecast cars would fit on the bottom section at all, so what we'll end up doing is maybe doing some weathering and some detailing on some of these Hornby cars so they look a little more respectful compared to the Oxford Diecast ones. Now, an interesting thing about the Oxford Diecast ones too is there's a kind of a channel, like I showed you, to move the signs back and forth down the center, and on the underneath of the Oxford Diecast where the screws go, these actually fit almost perfectly into that channel, so the cars don't actually go anywhere. So it kind of sits in that channel like that, and it keeps it pretty stationary. The only one that I had that didn't do that was that green car right there, and it sort of it just was a little uneven. And I think the little screw rivets for it are a little longer, so they don't have the screws in them, but the actual plastic piece that screws in, it was just a tad bit longer than the other cars. You can see there it works pretty well, and it stays in there pretty well as well. So I'll in an upcoming video where we fix the sign so it no longer says railroad and says Motorail instead, I'll also show this running on the layout. And in fact, I'm impressed enough with it that I think I'm going to try to pick up maybe a couple more from Hattons this week as well. So anyway, let's show it to you running on the layout or on the test track. Now it does add a considerable amount of extra weight, but it still runs pretty well. And you see there, and the cars are moving around, and if I suddenly bring to a stop, it suddenly start and stop, the cars aren't moving anywhere. So that's always a good sign. Alright, so well, that's it for the first in the series. It's a long weekend here, and I have a lot more Oxford Diecast cars, so I'm going to go through what I have and see if I can get anything that fits on the bottom. And I'm also going to do some work on the computer tonight to get that railroad sign replaced. So you may see the second video in this series a little sooner than you think. Alright, so that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time.